Ladies and gentlemen, this is Manzoor Memon from BBC TV Network. We are here in our studio with a very famous personality. Ashraf Abbasi has been in Houston political arena for, I would say, maybe 30-40 years, and I have known him from last 25-30 years, worked under his leadership when he was our patron-in-chief of Pakistan Chamber of Commerce and I was president of Chamber of Commerce. Very visionary person. He has done a lot for the community right from the beginning, and then last 10 years he has been out from Houston scene and went to Pakistan, and now he's back in Houston. Back in action. Abbasi sir, welcome back to Houston.
Thank you, Mr. Memon. Thank you very much for the invitation, and I'm really very excited to know that you're this video productions and you're writing so many books, and this is your first book. Honesty the best policy, and I really commend you for taking so much time out of this busy schedule, your business, and you are a political figure, and your community activities, and your social work, and this is amazing, and I commend you for that. I tried to write a book, and in 10 years time I just wrote not even a complete chapter, and still I long for to write a book. It's very important to pen down my experience, my life in America, and what we did, and what we went through, and
you have a lot of memories. You have done a lot of things in Houston. But tell me something, why did you go back to Pakistan, and again what brought you back?
Actually, Ma'am Sahib, let me start that my journey started with in the political or social work with PAGH. I was having a very big size business with the jet fuel at the Bush Intercontinental Airport, Jetera Fuel Terminal. And that time, this guy, Zubair Ashraf and Wasim, they came to me and they asked me that to, go and take the leadership of PHH. And I was reluctant. I was purely a businessman. I had this waste of time, and what you do, you don't have anything, that you're doing for community. And they brought to me the project of Pakistan Center that we are doing this. So we did our first fundraiser at Jetera Fuel Terminal for Pakistan Center. It was not a big money, but it's $16,000. That was the first seed money for Pakistan Center at that time. And then later on, through the PAGH, I found out that there's another organization formed, which was Pakistani American Congress in Washington, D.C. So I inducted PAGH into PSC to become its member, because as a Pakistani, you know that wherever we have 10-15 Pakistani, we tend to form a community organization. But when there is a task that we have run a campaign or some cause that we have championed on the national level, then we are not up to the task. So some senior leaders like Dr. Hafiz Malik, who is the chairman of Political Science Department at Villanova University, and Dr. Wasiullah Khan, who is the Chancellor of East West University in Chicago, and Dr. Sahabat Hussain in Chicago, and Dr. Riaz Ahmed from Detroit, Michigan. So these senior people, they put their heads together and they thought of forming this Pakistani American Congress in 1990. And then my whole thrust was with Pakistani American Congress. So I started with their joint secretary, then I was secretary, then vice president, and then I was president finally, and then still I'm an ambassador at large for Pakistani American Congress. So I went to Pakistan in 2007, and as you know that my wife, my beloved wife, and the person who has so much impact on my life, and she has done so much for my family and my family at large, because I have about 100 plus members of my family in Texas and Louisiana, and she was the person who welcomed them here in America, who hosted them, who put them in their apartments and their houses, and she, figured out the jobs for them and the businesses for them. And mashallah, they're all doing very well. But the credit goes to her. If she was not willing to accept them or to accommodate them, then it was not possible for me to do it. So she was a big support. And since I was busy with Pakistani American Congress, and most of the time I was staying in Washington and traveling to other states for our community matters. So she was the one. She was holding my bag, taking care of my business, taking care of my family, taking care of all the people coming from Pakistan. So she got diagnosed with, unfortunately, with an incurable disease of dementia. And I have to wind up my petroleum business. The last one was Flow Petroleum, you remember, on 59. And then I decided to go back for one reason, that she will have some quality life, whatever the time she has left, because she has a family over there, and she will feel better to see her sisters and family members. So that was the reason. And the other reason was my mother. She used to live with me, but after the passing of my dad, she didn't want to come and live in the US. So for these two ladies, which were center of my life, I had to move back to Pakistan. And unfortunately, my wife left me in 2011, and my mother recently in September 2016. So I was thinking that I have no reason to stay in Pakistan anymore. I'm not fit to do business in Pakistan. I'm not fit for Pakistani politics, since I spent most of my life in America, and I can get along with American people, the American system better than the Pakistani system and Pakistani people.
But tell me something, you will be a very good judge in this way, that you have lived here, been a part of politics. Back in Pakistan also, your family, your brother-in-law is a very well-known politician. What do you see a difference in politics, American politics and Pakistani politics? And can you give me a nutshell what we are doing good here and what we are doing bad here?
I think the basic difference I see in the Pakistani politics is the Pakistani voter, he doesn't have no power and no access to his elected leader. Once the leader is elected, the voter is trashed. He is nothing. In American system, the voter has a power. The voter can go to his constituency and bang the table of his congressman or his senator that such and such thing, why it's not done, or this thing I wanted to get it done. If something is wrong in his community or he has some grievances, he can talk to those people and get things done other way. Unfortunately, in Pakistan, it is conceived and it's like an established phenomenon that we elect our senator and our member to National Assembly not for legislation. We elect them to give us a water line and give us a pay our road and help us to clean our ditch and this and that and electricity transformer and sewage gas and blah blah blah. But we never, the public, they don't have the level of education, that awareness, that vote for the elected leaders. They think the elected leader for the electricity poles and electricity transformer and their sewage lines and their water supply and all these things, and that's what we want out of them. Now, the current situation with Nawaz Sharif, the Panama leaks, the verdict, whatever, you must have heard it. But let me tell you, Manzoor Sahab, Nawaz Sharif is going to be, his party is going to be winning in the next election again. You know why? Because with the massive foreign loan they have taken for the economy, and they have burdened the economy with the roads and freeways and bridges and all this, this orange line and blue line and red line and, transportation. These are good things, infrastructure is very important for a country. But because of this infrastructure, the people can see things tangible. Here they see person that this university the college was not there before, Nawaz Sharif has done it. This airport was not there before, Nawaz Sharif has done it. They don't think that that's his money, but that's the way I perceive it, And then they will say, okay, like his son-in-law, Captain Safdar, I think he has invested more than 80 crore rupees in his just one constituency. Every house has given, write a letter and tell them I need a transfer. How many people you are? I'm just one person. Okay, they put a transfer in your house. So the roads to every house and every.
So what you're telling me that they have developed selective areas where the voter base is, so they are going to be elected again. Is that what it is? But not from Frontier. Have they done the similar development in Frontier or in Sindh or Balochistan, or just restricted only to
I think they have picked up areas where they were not popular before, and now they are popular because of the work they have done. Because the people been asking from Yukon's time that they don't have electricity, they don't have road, they don't have school. They never had it. Now they had it in Captain Safdar's time. So no matter how bad he is and how much corruption he has, but he will get the vote. The people, they don't have that vision.
So you think Imran Khan has no chance?
Imran Khan has, put up a big fight, and he is a very courageous man. But unfortunately, the common man, they look at what Imran Khan has done for us. They don't look at that he is liberating nobody has that charisma like Zulfikar Ali Bhutto had, because when he was fired from foreign ministership and the way he, did things, that's amazing,
Yeah, no, I was in the procession in Karachi.
Yeah.
When the whole Karachi was in the procession,
Yeah.
So he had a charisma.
But Imran Khan is trying to do a lot of good things, but he has also a lot of cleanup job also, because in his party, a lot of people who were like black sheep in other party, they have a lot of scandals and corruption cases, and somehow they have penetrated into this Tariq Insaf, and I think he should be very much careful about and cognizant.
Let me ask you one thing. What they say is that corruption is your major problem in Pakistan. 2-3 things they are fundamentally talking. One is your electricity problem, one is your corruption problem, and then, so how can you develop the country?
Mr. Memon, let me put it this way. I think the biggest problem Pakistan is facing today, that we have failed to develop any system except armed forces as the only viable institution that Pakistan has, whether somebody likes it or not, but that's the truth. You see the American veterans under the bridge begging money, homeless, don't have food. Do you see any Pakistani soldier under the bridge asking for money? No. Why?
Because
They are well fed, well paid, and especially people above the rank of the commissioned officer above, from lieutenant to colonel, and then brigadier and up. They don't have no problem.
Very well said about this, because I did a documentary on homeless people. And I done a report on that when I was advisor to the Mayor Lee Brown, and we were working on the homeless. We found it out that 87% of the homeless are veterans. And good thing is our current mayor, Sylvester Turner, has come up with a very good program in trying to rehabilitate these homeless people.
Mm-hmm.
You must have seen in the news, he has started a group.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is a very well taken point, that in Pakistan, no army, even what they call it, from the lower cadre to the higher cadre, ever homeless are.
Yeah,
So they are
and
taking-
you see recently, there are so many videos on the YouTube and Facebook, you've seen it, about Indian Army. The Indian Army soldiers, they are complaining, showing their food, and look here that we work so hard, we are going up in the snow into the section, and they are giving us this, hard bread and, nothing, warm to eat, and don't get even a cup of tea. And they're comparing with Pakistani soldiers, they're having a style of
But
their
if
life.
you see the other side,
And the other thing is that America need to learn from Pakistan about this, because Pakistani army, Dr. Aisha Siddiqui wrote, Military Inc., the book you must have read it. So she gave the analysis of the army. They own so many, corporations, so many businesses. They own banks, they own real estate. All those defense housing societies. And they own import companies. They own Fuji Foundation. They own sugar mills. They are in manufacturing.
The common man is complaining this, that your 85% of your budget is going to army. So naturally, if the 85% of the budget is going to army, naturally they will be well fed. So the common man is not getting the benefit of the country's money. The only army is doing it only because they have to have this army compatible with Indian army.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
The people, they were army, they were smart. They just didn't think about themselves, but thought about the future generation of the army. Okay? So made their future secure. Every army officer who retires, and before his retirement gets home, he has a home ready. They give him the key.
He's a millionaire. He's a millionaire.
Here's the key.
Yeah.
You go and walk in the house.
Yeah.
Okay?
And they have got
So
plots
there
and
you
all
can see
that.
this.
Yeah.
This is not a fair system.
Yeah.
But what I'm talking, that we don't have a system in any other institution. We cannot run one hospital properly. There is so much theft, so much pilferage. All the medicines are stolen and sold outside in the pharmacies, and the patient, they don't have anything over there. So you look at the school, they don't have a system. You look at the universities, they don't have a system. All the grants are money coming in, there's a spread. And if you remember, we had donated $70,000 to Azara University. You remember that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've been fighting with every vice chancellor over there to give me the accountability where the money is spent.
They don't give it.
They don't have that.
But let me ask you one thing. I know Pakistan army is very strong. We are spending about 85-87% of budget on the army. Indians are also spending a lot of money in the biggest army, only because we have been on odds with each other. I have kind of a view, and somebody asked me today a question, what do you think was the solution? I said, very simple solution. Go with India, do a no war pact with them, take Kashmir, make Kashmir as an independent country. Both part of the Kashmir should become an independent country. Reduce your armies, put your money to the infrastructure and develop your countries. Like I was reading about Malaysia. Now, Malaysia got independence 10 years after Pakistan. And then they are high in GDP and high in industrialization. They might be another industrial country in few years. And we are still the same place, only because we are fighting the wars. So what's your view? And do you think this is a possible solution of Pakistan, that the no war pact, make Kashmir as a one country, independent country, with some kind of a water treaty between the countries so that everybody gets enough share of water? Because that's your main problem. Kashmir is water. Okay, because of that we are fighting. Otherwise, we don't have much interest in Kashmir except the water. What do you think? Do you think it's a possible solution of our problems?
I think the last interview of Dr. Javed Iqbal, who is a son of Dr. Lama Iqbal, on the national television in Pakistan, and he said he is a Kashmiri, which Lama Iqbal was a Kashmiri.
Yeah.
And his son said, I am a Kashmiri. But I think the very just and fair solution or resolution to the Kashmir problem for both India and Pakistan is what you said. He said that, we should get our hand off Kashmir as Pakistanis, and India should get off their hand of Kashmir and let Kashmir be an independent country. And let it be and as a new Muslim country emerging, we should help them. And give them some kind of assurance of protection of defense. If somebody attacks them, then we will, help them. And then it will be a prosperous Kashmir next door to us. We, have good neighboring relationship with them. We can help them, and we can have exchange of goodwill with them and quit this fighting and let Pakistani army and Indian army retire and contain it and reduce it, So that budget we can spend on our infrastructure and mainly on our education that we need most and healthcare.
Let's go back to Houston now. You come, how many months you have been here now? About 3-4 months? 4 months?
Yeah, 3-4 months.
4 months. 4 months. What have you seen change in 10 years?
Mr. Memon, I think that there is a lot of things that, not any drastic change, but one thing I feel that we have a deficit of leadership at every level and everywhere, and even in Pakistan. All our community organizations, they are going down the drain, and because we, the older people, the senior class, we have failed to pass the baton to our young generation, and we hold on to the leadership position ourselves, and we think we are so insecure that we don't allow our young girls and young boys to take the leadership position and lead this community and this nation. We have this problem here in Houston. I've seen this problem in Chicago. I've seen this problem in Atlanta. I've seen this problem in LA and San Francisco and New York and Washington and everywhere.
People are glued down. They glue down with the leadership. They don't let the other
And
people.
everywhere I'm telling people that we need to pass on the leadership to our young generation. And the reason that we have come to America back in 70s and 80s with some baggage, and our young generation who are they're born and raised in America, and they speak language better than us. They can talk to fellow American eyeball to eyeball. They understand Americans' problem as Americans, and they don't have the baggage that we have, and they can be better citizens, better leaders, and they can lead our community better than the senior people. They have done their job, and they should get back and leave that position for the young people.
What's your final message for Houstonians?
I think Houston been a home to me for past 40 years. I love the city, and when I was Pakistan, I missed it very much. I missed all your friends and your company. And when I met in Pakistan my old friends that we had been to school together, and we were meeting, that was such a tremendous joy to meet them, but we were sitting there and talking, and after 15, 20, 30 minutes at the most, we didn't have anything to talk about, you know? So that was a dilemma, that where you spend your life, you create your circle, your family circles, you know, your social circle, your political circles, and you cannot recreate them when you go back to Pakistan. So that's the biggest deficit over there. And over here, I'm very happy to see my old friends, and I'm trying to reinvent the wheel and reinvent my lifestyle back in America, and hopefully we will reinvigorate the organizations. I'm going to, on May 22nd, going to Washington, D.C., and trying to repair Pakistani American Congress and trying to get some, you know, youth leadership in there.
Well, I want to mention one thing, you know, I have worked under your leadership also. The one thing which the Constitution of Pakistan, Chamber of Commerce USA, which was your vision, I would say, that we had a change of leadership every year or 2 years, and that brought the new people in the leadership. And so I think most of the organizations, if they do the same thing, and let the new people come in, I think it will evolve and upgrade our community organizations. Upgrade that, because right now what I'm seeing myself, since you have gone in 10 years, there are a lot of organizations have come out, you know, and a lot of them are ethnic based. You know, everybody has made like a small pockets and organizations, and I think we are not seeing that national theme that we should be working together. under one umbrella.
I think this movement was very important for our young generation and for all of us, that we should be, actively involved in either the Republican Party or Democratic Party. That's our political environment. And that start, Ronald Reagan said that politics is nothing but local. So we have to start from our precinct level, from our county level, and then go forward to the national level. But it cannot start from national level to.
But we are not leaving the ethnicity problem, the ethnic problems which we have here. We are still in that pocket of ethnicity. How we can get out of that?
I think this depends on your involvement. I think when I was going in Republican Party, I was looking like a sore thumb sitting among all those white people, and most of them they were prejudiced about Muslims or Pakistanis or something like that. But we made headman then.
Yeah.
We created our position over there, and then the people not only they accepted us, they respected us. So it depends on your involvement and how you put your weight and what you produce for them. If you are useful for a party, and naturally they will give you respect, they will give you room. And we need to make ourselves useful. We need to make our children to volunteer for different, social political things. Yeah, look at these American people. When we are talking about the American strength, the American superpower. And my strongest argument is that as America is not a superpower because of its military arsenal. Recently they have dropped mother of all bombs in Afghanistan. No, that's not the sign of superpower. It's not superpower because of its robust economy. It's not superpower because of its military power and what's called battleships. But it's a superpower because of its volunteerism. America has biggest force of volunteers. Elderly people, they retire, they're 80 years old, they're 70 years old, they are volunteering in the hospital, they are volunteering in the fire department, they're volunteering in the school, mothers go and they volunteer in the library, in the kitchen, in the cafeteria and all these things.
I remember when we went last time together to Washington DC, and when we went to eat lunch, we saw those hundreds of boys and girls in the cafeteria, and I asked one congressman that, are these employees of the Congress? And we found out that they were all volunteers, interns, coming in the summertime.
Absolutely.
And I think we need to develop the same system in that those young people should be given a chance to become the future leaders, And that's what our preaching will be. The young people, you need to come forward and be part of the political system. And now I think the old guard has realized that, it is time for the young people to take over. And I will urge you also to be part of the system, and any guidance from the senior leaders like Ashraf Abbasi and other people who are here for so many years working in the mainstream politics, they will be ready to guide you, but you people need to come forward and be part of the system. Abbas, thank you very much for your time, and
thank you for having me.
And we'll be talking to you more about the issues as the time goes.
Thank you.